Think you know everything about Disney's happiest places on Earth? Beneath the magical castles and thrilling rides lies a secret world most visitors never see. From pneumatic trash tubes shooting garbage at highway speeds to a basketball court hidden inside a mountain, Walt Disney's obsession with maintaining perfect illusion led to engineering marvels that sound more like science fiction than theme park design, including an entire park built on the second floor and a wave machine now rotting underwater. Here are 15 weird facts you didn't know about Disneyland's underground and hidden infrastructure. Fact 1. Magic Kingdom sits on the second floor. When you walk through the gates of Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World and stroll down Main Street, USA towards Cinderella Castle, you might not realize that you're actually walking on the second floor of a massive structure. The entire park that guests see and experience was deliberately built one story above ground level, with a sprawling 9-acre underground city operating directly beneath your feet. This isn't some small basement or storage area we're talking about. It's a complete operational facility that spans nearly 400,000 square feet and functions as the hidden backbone of everything that makes the park run smoothly. The reason for this unusual construction method comes down to Florida's geography and a problem that Walt Disney's engineers encountered when they started planning the park. The water table in Central Florida sits extremely high, meaning that groundwater is just inches below the surface in most areas. Digging a traditional basement would have been nearly impossible without constant flooding and drainage issues that would cost a fortune to manage. So instead of fighting against nature by digging down, the Disney engineers came up with a brilliant solution. They would build the utility corridors at ground level and then construct the entire Magic Kingdom on top of them. To make this work, crews had to create the illusion that guests were entering the park at ground level when they were actually being gradually elevated. If you pay attention the next time you visit, you'll notice a gentle, almost imperceptible incline that starts as soon as you get off the monorail or ferry boat. By the time you reach the castle, you've climbed roughly 15 feet without even realizing it, and parts of Fantasyland actually sit at third-story level. This clever design means that while you're enjoying rides and meeting characters above, an entire hidden world of cast members, supplies, and systems is working away below you, keeping the magic alive without ever breaking the illusion. Fact 2. They're not actually underground. When people hear about the famous tunnels beneath Disney's Magic Kingdom, they usually picture workers and costumed characters navigating through dark passageways dug deep into the earth. But the reality is much stranger than that. These so-called underground tunnels aren't underground at all. Instead, they were built right at ground level, and then the entire Magic Kingdom theme park was constructed on top of them, essentially placing every guest who visits the park on what's technically the second floor of a massive building. The reason for this unusual approach comes down to one major problem: Florida's geography. The state sits on swampland with an incredibly high water table, meaning the groundwater level is only a few inches below the surface in many areas. Trying to dig a traditional basement in this kind of terrain would have been a nightmare. The excavation would have required constant pumping to keep water out, and the underground structures would have been at constant risk of flooding. Engineers determined that building actual underground tunnels in the Magic Kingdom's location was practically impossible, or at least so expensive and complicated that it wasn't worth attempting. So Disney's Imagineers came up with a creative solution. They built the 9-acre utilidor system at ground level first. Then they needed to make it look like the park itself was at ground level. To accomplish this illusion, workers excavated more than 7 million cubic yards of dirt from the area that would become the Seven Seas Lagoon, the large man-made lake in front of the Magic Kingdom. All that excavated earth was then transported and spread over the utilidor tunnels, raising the entire park site by about 14 to 15 feet. The result is that when guests arrive at Magic Kingdom and walk through the entrance, they're actually walking up a gradual, almost imperceptible incline. By the time visitors reach Cinderella Castle, they're standing at third-story level, though most people never notice the elevation change because it was designed so carefully. This means that what everyone calls the underground city of Disney is actually sitting right at normal ground level, with the magical world above floating on top of it. Fact 3. A cowboy caused the whole thing. The entire Utilidor tunnel system, one of the most expensive and ambitious engineering projects in theme park history, exists because Walt Disney had a very bad day at Disneyland. According to modern legend, Walt was walking through Tomorrowland at the original Disneyland park in Anaheim, California, sometime in the early 1960s, when he spotted something that absolutely ruined his day. A cast member dressed in full cowboy regalia, complete with checked shirt, bandana, cowboy boots, and a six-shooter, was casually strolling through the futuristic-themed land on his way to his workstation in Frontierland. For Walt Disney, this wasn't just a minor inconvenience or something to overlook. This was a complete violation of everything he believed in when it came to creating immersive experiences for his guests. Here was Tomorrowland, designed to represent the exciting possibilities of the future, and there was an Old West cowboy from the 1800s walking right through it like it was no big deal. Walt felt that this sight was jarring and completely detracted from the guest experience. It shattered the illusion he had worked so hard to create. The problem was simple but unavoidable at Disneyland. The park was relatively small, and cast members had to walk through different themed areas to reach their designated work locations. There was no other way around it. A Frontierland employee starting their shift had to pass through whatever land stood between the employee entrance and their post, even if that meant a cowboy cutting through Tomorrowland or a space-age character wandering past the Caribbean pirates. Walt racked his brain for a solution, but implementing a tunnel system at the already built Disneyland in California simply wasn't feasible. The park was too small and the infrastructure was already in place. But when planning began for the much larger Walt Disney World in Florida, Walt made sure that his Imagineers designed an underground utility corridor system from the very beginning. This way, cast members could move from one area of the park to another completely out of sight, preserving the magic and maintaining the thematic integrity of each land. That cowboy walking through Tomorrowland had inadvertently inspired a 9-acre underground city that would change theme park design forever. Fact 4. Color-coded tunnel walls prevent getting lost. Imagine navigating through 9 acres of underground tunnels that circle beneath an entire theme park, and you need to pop up in the exact right spot to keep the Disney magic alive. That's the daily reality for thousands of cast members at Magic Kingdom, which is why the Utilidor tunnels feature a surprisingly simple yet brilliant navigation system. Color-coded walls that correspond to the lands directly above them. The tunnels beneath Magic Kingdom form a massive circular layout with spokes radiating out in different directions, and there's a central pathway running straight down the middle. Without some kind of wayfinding system, cast members would spend half their shifts just trying to figure out where they are and how to get where they need to go. Disney's solution was to paint the tunnel walls in different colors that match the themed lands above ground. If you're walking through a section with purple striped walls, you know you're directly beneath Fantasyland. Different colors mark the areas under Adventureland, Tomorrowland, Frontierland, Liberty Square, and Main Street, USA. But the color coding is just part of the system. Throughout the Utilidor network, you'll find numerous maps and directional signs posted at key intersections and along the corridors. These maps help lost cast members orient themselves and find the quickest route to their destination, which is especially important when you're power walking through the tunnels trying to make it to your shift on time. According to former cast members, nobody strolls casually through the Utilidors like guests do in the park above. Instead, employees typically power walk at a brisk pace, rushing from the cast entrance all the way to their distant work locations, sometimes having to climb 3 or 4 flights of stairs once they reach the right area. The combination of color-coded walls, clear signage, and detailed maps ensures that even in this sprawling underground maze, cast members can navigate efficiently and emerge through the correct hidden doorway to maintain the seamless Disney experience guests expect. Fact 5. Trash travels at 60 miles per hour. If you've ever wondered how Disney keeps the Magic Kingdom so spotlessly clean without ever seeing garbage trucks or overflowing dumpsters, the answer is hiding right beneath your feet in one of the most advanced trash systems in the world. The park uses something called an AVAC system, which stands for Automated Vacuum Collection, and it works by sucking trash through a network of pneumatic tubes at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. Every 15 minutes, The system activates and whooshes all the garbage that cast members have collected from around the park through these underground pipes, sending it all to a central compactor located behind what used to be Splash Mountain and is now Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The way it works is actually pretty fascinating when you think about it. Throughout the Magic Kingdom, there are 17 different collection points where custodians can discreetly empty trash cans into special processors that connect to the pneumatic tube system. Once the trash goes into these processors, it doesn't just sit there waiting to be hauled away by hand. Instead, powerful industrial fans create air pressure differentials that literally suck the garbage through the tubes at highway speeds, moving it completely out of sight and out of mind for guests enjoying the park above. The whole system runs 24 hours a day, which means even while you're watching fireworks at night or arriving first thing in the morning, trash is being whisked away through these hidden corridors. Disney was actually the first place in the United States to install this kind of system when the park opened in 1971. The technology was invented in Sweden in the early 1960s, and Disney saw it as the perfect solution for keeping their new Florida park clean without breaking the magical illusion. At the time, a company press release said the system held great promise for communities of the future because of its efficiency and cleanliness, though it never really caught on across America the way Disney hoped it would. Fact 6. Only 2 places in America have this system. When Disney World's Magic Kingdom opened in 1971, it became the first place in the entire United States to use an automated vacuum collection system for trash removal, making it a technological pioneer in waste management that was years ahead of its time. The system, known as a vac, was invented in Sweden during the early 1960s and had been used successfully in European cities, but American municipalities had never adopted it until Disney decided to take the leap. The Swedish-built technology works by using pneumatic tubes that create powerful air pressure differentials with large industrial fans, essentially sucking trash through underground pipes at incredible speeds to reach a central collection and compaction facility. When Disney announced they would be installing this futuristic system in their new Florida park, a press release declared that it held great promise for communities of the future because of its efficiency and cleanliness, suggesting they believed it would eventually spread across America and revolutionize how cities handled waste. Despite Disney's optimistic predictions and the system's impressive performance at Magic Kingdom, the technology never caught on in the United States the way they hoped it would. Around the same time Disney was building their system in Florida, developers in New York were planning a utopian community on Roosevelt Island that would include the same Swedish AVAC technology as part of their vision for modern urban living. The Roosevelt Island system began serving residents and continues operating today, making it the only other major location in America to use this advanced waste collection method. To this day, more than 50 years after both systems were installed, Disney World's Magic Kingdom and Roosevelt Island remain the only 2 places in the United States with functioning pneumatic trash tube networks. Meanwhile, cities across Europe, including Barcelona, Stockholm, Copenhagen, and London, have embraced the technology, proving that while it works extremely well, American communities simply never adopted what Disney thought would become the waste management system of the future. Fact 7. 7 million cubic yards created a lake. When Disney's engineers were planning the Magic Kingdom in Florida during the late 1960s, they faced a significant problem that didn't exist at the original Disneyland in California. The land where they wanted to build was nothing but swampy wetlands with a water table so high that digging even a few feet down would immediately fill with water. This meant that Walt Disney's vision of underground tunnels to hide cast members and operations from guest view seemed impossible at first. But the Disney Imagineers came up with a brilliantly simple solution that would actually kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Instead of trying to dig down into the soggy Florida soil, they decided to build the Utilidor tunnels at ground level and then construct the entire Magic Kingdom park on top of them, essentially making the park sit on the 2nd floor. But this created another challenge. They needed an enormous amount of dirt and soil to cover these 9 acres of tunnels and create the illusion that guests were walking on ground level. The answer came from looking at the land directly in front of where the Magic Kingdom entrance would be located. The area that would become the Seven Seas Lagoon was surveyed and deemed completely unsuitable for any kind of construction because the ground was so unstable and waterlogged. So Disney's construction crews began one of the most massive excavation projects in theme park history. They removed more than 7 million cubic yards of earth from this area, creating what would become the 200-acre man-made lagoon. That excavated dirt was then transported to the Magic Kingdom site and carefully distributed to cover the utilidors and raise the entire park. The process created a gentle, almost imperceptible incline from the park entrance all the way to Cinderella Castle, which guests walk up without even realizing they're climbing about 15 feet in elevation. By the time visitors reach the castle, they're actually standing at third-story level. This ingenious engineering solution turned an obstacle into an opportunity, giving Disney World both its iconic lagoon and the hidden infrastructure that keeps the park running smoothly. Fact 8. Building them more than doubled construction costs. When Walt Disney started planning the Magic Kingdom in Florida, the original budget seemed manageable enough. Engineers estimated that building the entire theme park would cost around $4 million, which was a substantial amount of money in the late 1960s, but it was considered a reasonable investment for what would become Disney's second major theme park. However, Walt Disney had a vision that went far beyond just building attractions and walkways above ground, and that vision came with a price tag that nobody initially anticipated. The utilidor system, those massive underground tunnels that would allow cast members and supplies to move beneath the park without ever being seen by guests, was an engineering challenge unlike anything Disney had attempted before. Because Florida's water table sat just inches below ground level, the company couldn't simply dig down like they would for a normal basement. Instead, they had to build the entire tunnel system at ground level first, then use millions of cubic yards of dirt excavated from the Seven Seas Lagoon to literally raise the entire Magic Kingdom on top of it. This meant constructing what was essentially a 9-acre building at ground level, complete with all its utilities, offices, cafeterias, and corridors, before even starting on the park that guests would actually see. When Disney's finance team calculated the additional costs for this elaborate underground city, the numbers were staggering. The utilidor system alone raised the total construction budget from the estimated $4 million to $9 million. That means the underground tunnels cost more than the entire original park budget, effectively doubling what Disney had to spend just to make Walt's vision of a seamless, immersive experience come to life. Some executives questioned whether spending an extra $5 million just to hide trash removal and employee movement was worth it, but Walt Disney remained convinced that maintaining the illusion was essential to creating the most magical place on Earth, and he was willing to pay whatever it took to make that happen. Fact 9. There's a basketball court inside the Matterhorn. If you've ever ridden the Matterhorn bobsleds at Disneyland, you probably had no idea that somewhere above your head, tucked away inside the hollow mountain, sits a basketball court that's been there since the early 1960s. This isn't some urban legend or made-up story either. It's completely real, though calling it a full basketball court might be stretching things a bit, since it's really more like a third of a court with a single hoop, backboard, and some floor markings painted on the ground. The space itself is small and cramped, located in an attic-like area near the top of the Matterhorn structure, and it sits in that upper third of the mountain where the bobsled tracks don't actually reach, leaving a surprising amount of empty space inside what looks from the outside like solid mountain. The basketball court wasn't part of some clever scheme to get around building codes like some people claim. That story about Disneyland needing to classify the Matterhorn as a sports facility to exceed height restrictions is pure myth, since Anaheim didn't even have those regulations when the ride opened in 1959. The real reason is much simpler and actually makes more sense when you think about it. Back in the day, Disneyland used to hire professional mountain climbers to scale the outside of the Matterhorn as a special attraction for guests, and these climbers, along with cast members who worked on the ride, needed somewhere to take breaks and prepare for their performances, especially when the weather turned bad. Someone had the idea to set up a small break room in that empty space at the top of the mountain, and at some point in the early 1960s, an enterprising climber decided that no break room was complete without a basketball hoop. So they installed one along with the backboard and painted some lines on the floor. Disney Imagineer Bob Gurr gave viewers a rare tour of this hidden court in the documentary series The Imagineering Story on Disney+, confirming what fans had suspected for decades. Today, the space is mostly used for storage, and cast members rarely get to shoot hoops up there anymore. But the court remains intact as one of Disneyland's most unusual and unexpected secrets, sitting silently above the heads of thousands of riders who zoom past below without ever knowing it exists. Fact 10. The largest wardrobe department in the world. For many years, the utilidors beneath Magic Kingdom housed what was officially recognized as the largest operating wardrobe department in the entire world, with over 1.2 million costumes stored in its underground facilities. To put that number in perspective, that's more costumes than most major Hollywood studios, Broadway theaters, and professional costume shops combined, all crammed into the tunnels running beneath the park where guests walked overhead, completely unaware. The massive wardrobe operation served a dual purpose in the utilidors, providing costumes not just for the thousands of cast members who worked in the park above, but also for all of the audio-animatronic figures featured throughout Magic Kingdom's attractions. Every pirate in Pirates of the Caribbean, every president in the Hall of Presidents, and every singing character in attractions like the Carousel of Progress needed authentic period costumes that had to be maintained, cleaned, and occasionally replaced, which meant Disney's costume department operated more like a major museum's textile conservation lab than a typical theme park wardrobe room. Cast members would enter the utilidors each day, navigate through the color-coded tunnels, and arrive at the massive costume facility where they would check out their character outfits, from elaborate princess gowns to simple Main Street USA period costumes. The operation ran 24 hours a day with industrial washing machines, repair stations, and an army of seamstresses and costume technicians working around the clock to keep everything in perfect condition. However, in 2005, Disney decided that even the sprawling utilidor space wasn't enough to handle the ever-growing costume collection, and the company built a much larger facility in the cast members' parking lot area called West Clock. The new building provided significantly more space and better working conditions for the costume department staff, though the move meant the end of having the world's largest wardrobe department literally beneath guests' feet. Today, the only costuming operations that remain in the utilidors are specifically for the costumed character performers like Mickey, Minnie, and the Disney princesses who still use the tunnels to travel unseen throughout the park. Fact 11. Only 2 gas vehicles are allowed. Deep beneath the Magic Kingdom, where cast members navigate the utilidors to keep Disney's operations running smoothly, there's a strict rule about what kind of vehicles can travel through these tunnels. Unlike the streets above ground, where you might see delivery trucks and service vehicles of all types, the utilidors only allow battery-powered vehicles that look like golf carts. The reason for this restriction comes down to something pretty simple, but absolutely critical: air quality and health concerns. Because the utilidor system is an enclosed underground space, any gas-powered vehicle would release exhaust fumes that would quickly build up in the tunnels. With cast members spending hours down there every single day, walking through these corridors or riding in the electric carts to get to their posts across the park, breathing in those fumes would create serious health problems. The ventilation system in the utilidors, while functional, isn't designed to handle the constant exhaust from traditional vehicles. So Disney made the decision early on to keep the air as clean as possible by banning them entirely. However, there are exactly 2 exceptions to this rule, and both of them exist for very specific reasons that outweigh the health concerns. The first exception is for armored cash trucks, which need to enter the utilidors to collect the massive amounts of money generated by the Magic Kingdom every single day. These trucks drive through an extremely tight service entrance with only about 4 inches of clearance on either side and make their way to the cash office located under Pinocchio's village house. The second exception is for ambulances, but only in extreme emergencies when a guest or cast member needs immediate medical transport, and the fastest route happens to be through the tunnel system. In both cases, these gas-powered vehicles are allowed in because the alternative would either compromise security for cash handling or potentially cost someone their life in a medical emergency, making the temporary air quality issue worth the risk. Fact 12. There are 29 secret access points. Hidden throughout Magic Kingdom are 29 secret doorways that connect the utilidors to the park above, and most guests walk right past them without ever noticing they're there. These access points are strategically placed throughout different lands, allowing cast members to pop up exactly where they need to be without guests ever seeing them emerge from backstage areas. The doors are designed to blend seamlessly into the themed environments above ground, making them practically invisible to anyone who doesn't know what to look for. One of Disney's cleverest tricks for hiding these entrances involves special paint colors that the company developed specifically for this purpose. Many of the Utilidor access doors are painted in what Disney calls go-away green, or nauseam green, which is a shade carefully formulated to be so neutral and unremarkable that the human eye naturally skips over it. This same color is used throughout Disney parks to paint things like trash cans, utility buildings, and other elements that need to exist but shouldn't draw attention. The color works on a psychological level, essentially making objects fade into the background of whatever environment surrounds them. The main entrance to the Utilidors is located at the rear of Fantasyland and is large enough to accommodate an ambulance in case of emergency, allowing injured or ill guests to be transported out of the park quickly and discreetly without disturbing other visitors. Most of the other 28 access points feature signs on the tunnel side reminding cast members to smile before they step through, because once they emerge, they're officially on stage and need to be in character for guests. These hidden staircases can lead up 3 or 4 flights depending on which part of the park you're in, since different areas sit at different elevations. Cast members working at the Matterhorn or other attractions sometimes have to climb multiple flights of stairs after navigating through the tunnels just to reach their workstations, making their daily commute much more exhausting than most guests would ever imagine. Fact 13. A failed wave machine still rests underwater. If you dive beneath the surface of Disney World's Seven Seas Lagoon near the Polynesian resort, you might stumble upon the rusted remains of one of the company's most expensive mistakes. Back in the early 1970s, Disney installed a massive $500,000 wave machine on a small island called Beachcomber Island, which in today's money would be over $2.2 million. The whole thing was the brainchild of Dick Nunis, who was Disney's vice president of operations at the time and also happened to be an avid surfer. He convinced the company to build this enormous machine that could generate powerful ocean-like waves in the man-made lagoon, with plans to put on surfing demonstrations for guests staying at the nearby resorts. The wave machine had to be installed on Beachcomber Island before the lagoon was even filled with water. And when they finally fired it up sometime in the summer of 1971, just before the park opened in October, it actually worked pretty well at creating surfable waves. The problem was that nobody had really thought through what those powerful waves would do to the carefully designed white sand beaches that Disney had just finished installing around the Polynesian resort. The machine caused severe erosion almost immediately, washing away the meticulously planned shoreline and creating buildup of silt and muck in the lagoon. On top of that, the technology was temperamental and broke down constantly, and the waves made it difficult for the rental boats and ferries to navigate safely through the water. After operating on and off for a few years, Disney shut the wave machine down completely. They tried to refurbish it and give it another shot in 1985, more than a decade after it first stopped working, but the second attempt just caused even more beach erosion. Disney finally gave up and permanently shut it down. But here's the weird part. Removing the massive machine from the bottom of the lagoon would have cost so much money that they just left it there. To this day, the remnants of Disney's failed surfing experiment are still sitting underwater near Beachcomber Island, a hidden piece of theme park history that most guests sailing across the Seven Seas Lagoon have no idea exists. Fact 14. Club 33's secret listening system. If you've ever been lucky enough to visit Disneyland's ultra-exclusive Club 33, you might want to watch what you say, because the room is literally listening to you. Hidden inside the lighting fixtures throughout the club are microphones that were originally installed as part of an ambitious audio-animatronic system that Walt Disney himself approved, and they're still there today, even though the system never worked the way it was supposed to. Back when Club 33 was being designed in the 1960s, Walt Disney wanted to push the boundaries of what was possible with his audio-animatronic technology, and he came up with an idea that sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. The plan was to have microphones embedded in the overhead lighting fixtures pick up the sounds of normal conversation from guests dining in the club. And then an operator in another room would listen in and respond through audio animatronic characters placed throughout the space. The system was supposed to create an interactive experience where the characters could actually participate in conversations with guests, making it feel like the animals and figures in the room were truly alive and aware of what people were saying. The most famous remnant of this system is an audio animatronic vulture named Alfred, who sits perched on top of a grandfather clock in what used to be called the trophy room. Alfred was meant to be the star of this interactive show, responding to guests through the hidden speaker system, but the technology of the time just wasn't advanced enough to make Walt's vision work properly. Despite the system never being fully implemented, Disney left it partially installed, and if you look carefully at the bottom of the lighting fixtures in Club 33, you can clearly see the microphones that were meant to capture every word spoken by the exclusive members and their guests. The whole setup remains as a fascinating piece of abandoned Disney technology, a reminder of how far ahead of his time Walt's ideas really were. Fact 15. The tunnels smell terrible. When most people imagine the underground tunnels beneath Disney's Magic Kingdom, they picture a pristine, climate-controlled wonderland where cast members glide effortlessly between the themed lands above. The reality, according to those who actually work down there, is far less magical and considerably more pungent. Former and current cast members consistently report that the utilidors often smell absolutely terrible, transforming what sounds like an exciting backstage area into an olfactory nightmare that can make even a full shift feel unbearable. The smell comes from a perfect storm of unpleasant sources, all converging in one confined space. First, there's the AVAC pneumatic trash system that sucks garbage through tubes running along the tunnel ceilings every 15 minutes. While this high-tech waste removal keeps the park above spotless, it also means the utilidors are constantly processing the collective trash from tens of thousands of daily visitors, from half-eaten turkey legs to dirty diapers. The trash doesn't just disappear silently either, it whooshes through the tubes overhead at 60 miles per hour, and any leaks or processing areas concentrate those smells in the tunnels below. Then there are the sewer pipes that run through the utilidors, which, as you might expect, contribute their own distinctive aroma to the underground atmosphere. Combine these elements with the fact that air circulation in the tunnels is reportedly not very good, and you've got a recipe for some seriously unpleasant working conditions. The air just sits there, trapping all those competing odors in a space where thousands of cast members need to walk, work, and take their breaks every single day. One former cast member writing for the Disney Food blog summed it up perfectly when describing things they wished they could forget about the utilidors, noting that in addition to the trash smell, you also have to deal with the occasional whiff of sewage, and there's not much airflow to clear it out. So the next time you're strolling down Main Street, enjoying that perfect Disney scent pumping from the buildings, just remember that a few feet below, the reality is drastically different.